With us now, Director of Communications and Media for the Ukrainian Congress Committee of America. Welcome, as always. When you and I last spoke, you said you believed the Trump administration had done everything possible to bring Putin to the table, and it had been rebuffed time and time again. As Robert just mentioned, we are still seeing airstrikes during the night. Will this make any headway, this fifth round of talks?
We're not just seeing airstrikes at night. We're seeing an increased amount of airstrikes. This is the issue with these negotiations, is that ever since Ukraine agreed to a unilateral ceasefire, once President Trump asked for that, Russia has only increased its attacks. So its drone attacks and its glide bomb attacks have increased by 50% in the last 3 months. There have been an increase of 40% more children being killed by these attacks on civilian locations. And I really feel this is part of the reason that President Trump has changed his approach, because as long as these humiliating attacks, meaning that President Trump promised the United States and the world that he could get this done very quickly, the Russian president has seemed fit to humiliate President Trump by constantly attacking civilians in a way of rebuffing this ceasefire that Ukraine already agreed to. So as to what we're seeing today, I think the White House is pretty bullish. They want to announce something. We don't know if that press conference that they scheduled for the Oval Office at 4:30 today is related to Russia, but it seems like that the United States either wants to pull the trigger on a massive a massive package of sanctions and support for Ukraine militarily, or announce something that Russia is finally ready to at least take the first steps towards a ceasefire.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. Looking for that. Without China, though, you say Russia would not be able to continue its attack on Ukraine. President Trump said India is also fueling what he now calls the Russian war machine. India is not just accused of providing financial aid. What should people know about India's role in all of this, Andrij?
Well, India is the major purchaser of Russian oil right now, by far above other countries. We need to keep updating our sanctions list and do the whack-a-mole of trying to put sanctions on individual ships, where they're registered, who's insuring them, and making sure that it's more and more difficult for these ships not to transfer oil in international waters to a ship by India or something else. Now, only in the last couple of days, we've seen that Russian oil stopped going into Indian refineries, but that is clearly a temporary stop because we saw the response from India. As for China, there was a very powerful moment last week at the United Nations when the United States called out China in the Security Council, said that we know that that Chinese technology is in weapons being fired on Ukraine. China responded by saying, listen, you can't just make accusations like that. And the United States went right back at China, said, you show us the evidence that you're not doing it, because we have the evidence that you are doing it. So clearly, the United States is ready to ramp up rhetoric against those countries that are supplying Russia with the means to attack Ukraine.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to that press conference later today. We'll see what we learn after this important meeting this morning. Andrij, as always, thank you.
Thank you.